Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Revive Your Health podcast. On this episode, we're going to be talking about and walking you through our New You, New Year challenge. We're going to be talking about metabolism, everything from weight loss to really just being a healthier version of yourself. And so if you're out there and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, make sure you share this episode with somebody and get plugged in. So enjoy the episode. So our New Year challenge, welcome everybody. We're going to be talking about a lot of different stuff. If you're actually going to go through the challenge, this is for you. We're going to be kind of breaking down the details of, the challenge itself. We put together a 40-day challenge for our patients and for the community. And so if you're out there, like I said, and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're really just lost, you don't really have a plan of attack, make sure you go to revivechiro.com and just ask for the challenge, and we'll begin to get you hooked up so we can get you healthy in 2025. Before I start, I love this concept of information plus application equals transformation. I mean, we all want transformation. I don't know anybody who says, "Well, I just don't want to have a better health. I don't want to have a better marriage. I don't want to have a better financial stability. I don't want to have a better mindset." All that is a transformation process. But here's what has to happen. There has to be application of information. There's a plethora of information out there, YouTube, as you're watching, everywhere, Instagram, social media, like everybody's got information, but it's the application of that information that separates okay results to great results. So take this information, apply it, and then get true transformation. I want to talk a little bit about, a lot about just mindset. I was talking to, a gentleman the other day, and he said, "Hey, I've done the challenge and I've actually had great success with it. I've lost 20, 30 pounds. I've felt better, but I gained it all back. Or maybe I'm not where I used to be, but I just have an issue being consistent." And it came down to is just like, I just need discipline. I don't really know how to stay within the lines. Like I do it for 20 days, 40 days, however, and then 2 to 3 months later, I'm right back to where I was before. And so I think, the big word here is discipline. We've got a ton of motivation in our world right now. Like everybody's looking at motivational speeches and let me get pumped up, hoorah. But if I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing, Viktor Frankl, he's a Holocaust survivor. He said really one of the only ways that he survived the Holocaust is because his why was bigger than his how. He had something that he clung to every single day in the midst of pure hell that allowed him to get through where he was. And so I want to kind of break down what we call the mindset of a warrior. And as a patient, like we want you to have, what we call a warrior mindset. And there's really 4 things that I think need to happen in order for you to create a good habit, for you to be able to achieve a goal, if you have a goal, but not just to achieve or create a habit, but to have that continue. This is a 40-day challenge we're going to talk about, but it's really for the next 40 years of your life, depending upon where you're at. And so the first thing that I want to talk about in this 4-step process is awareness. We have to become aware of where we are currently. Like we have to take a deep look inside ourselves and say, am I who I need to be in order to be able to achieve what God has called me to be? Am I the father that I need to be? Am I the weight? Do I have the health necessary to be able to really run towards whatever it is that God has called me to? We have to become aware of where we're at. I think sometimes people aren't really aware of where they are. They don't really realize how sick and tired that they really are because they don't come to grips with that. Like it's almost kind of like the emotional response is that being overweight, being on medications. I see this a lot. Like being the fat, overweight dad is kind of a funny thing. There's nothing funny about being unhealthy because your health not only is going to trickle down onto your children or those who are watching, but it's physically impossible, spiritually, emotionally, relationally, as Luke 10:20 says, to be able to achieve the things that you want to do if you're not aware of where you're at. So we have to become aware. And one of the best ways to become aware is, hey, reach out to somebody who's close to you, a friend, and just say, hey, give me the truth. Where am I? Where do you think I'm at physically? What are the things that you think I need to work on and change? When I've done this, I was actually, kind of taken aback at some of the, the responses that I got from some really, really close friends of mine. And so we have to become aware, and we have to come to grips with the fact that we are not where we need to be. Number two is that we have to have intention. So we have to be very intention, or have intention with what it is that we are trying to achieve. I see this a lot, just in general. When you go to the gym, whenever you're planning for your food, or you're prepping, or you're, even out with your children and you're having a date night with your wife, like are you in that situation, and are you clear, and are you focused, and what is your intent in that moment? I think anybody can go to the gym. Anybody can go through the 40-day challenge and do the workouts and go through the motions. But it's the individuals that come into those particular situations with intent and discipline and awareness, and really have made the decision that, hey, I'm going to go as hard as I possibly can. I'm going to be very, very focused, and I'm going to have intent on the task that's ahead of me. Anybody can go through the motions. Anybody can say, well, I did the workout and it didn't work. I was on my phone half the time. Or, hey, I did the nutrition challenge, but I picked and chose what it is that I wanted to do with that. I took the supplements that I wanted to take. I didn't really follow, and I didn't have the intention necessary to achieve the goal or the habit that I wanted. So we have to be intent and have intention with whatever it is that we're doing. And then number three is decision. There comes a point in someone's life when you're going to have to make a decision whether or not you want to just get it done or you don't. I think that there's like that, I call it the line principle, and I talk a lot about this with my kids. Like, there comes a point where you're just going to have to you're going to have to jump over the line, and you're going to have to trust that the Lord has got you. He is greater is he that is in me than in he that is of the world. So we know that God is going to provide. He's Jehovah Jireh, the provider. And so we have to have and make a decision. And if you're listening to this and you're starting the 40-day challenge, or if you're just somebody listening, like, you have to draw a line in the sand, and you have to make a decision. Do I want to live the rest of my life sick, fat, and nearly dead? And really just complaining about where it is that I wish I would have been? Or do I make the decision to say, today's the day that my health, my relationships, my marriage, whatever it may be, in this particular instance, my health, because it bleeds into everything else, today is the day that I'm making that decision. And then number four is that we have to have the discipline necessary to carry out that decision. I get really jacked up, whenever I watch Rocky. I get really jacked up when I watch, the old school Gladiator 1. I haven't seen Gladiator 2 yet, but I heard it was not as great. So, I get really, really, really motivated when I listen to somebody on stage screaming and yelling and let's go, and the Instagram reels and all these different things. But it takes discipline, and discipline is really what happens behind the scenes when nobody else is looking, right? I mean, when nobody else is looking, and the camera's not on you, or your wife or your husband doesn't have to tell you to do this or do that. Like, there's no babysitting involved. It's just, I've made a decision with intent, and I'm aware of where I am, and I've got the discipline to carry this out. Jesus was very disciplined whenever he went 40 days and 40 nights in the wilderness. And that's why, we chose 40 days, because it's very biblical. And he was disciplined with his food, with his mindset, with his spiritual health. And he did that because he wanted to be clear and focused for the mission that God had called him to. So we have to have discipline. We have to draw a line in the sand. And discipline means, creating some solid yellow lines in our life. Maybe in order to have discipline, we have to have some accountability. Maybe we have to have some, iron sharpens iron kind of men or women in our life that are saying, hey, you need to stay away from that. Or maybe in order to have discipline, you need to take certain people out of your life, and you need to say, you know what, like, I can't hang out with you anymore because what the lifestyle that you're living is not conducive and it's not good for me physically, spiritually, emotionally. I love you, but in this particular season, until I get where I need to be, I've got to take a step back. So awareness, intention, decision, discipline. If you're a patient and you're listening to this, you have what we call a vision sheet, and you've got what we call like a warrior wheel. And as you go through the 40-day challenge, I really want you to begin to think about, every week, kind of looking at where am I at in these categories of nutrition, mindset, your relationships, your purpose and intention and spirituality. Like where do you walk with the Lord? How is your chiropractic care? How is your home rehabilitation? Like, are you consistent? Do you have a plan of attack when it comes to your health, your meal prep, your exercise? And then kind of rate yourself. 0 is that I'm not really doing this at all, and 10 is that like I am just killing it. And I think it'd be really interesting to see kind of how that wheel evolves, because you never want to drive your car with a flat tire. Not only are you a danger to those who are driving and other cars around you, but you're also a danger to your family. Nobody needs to be driving around in a car that's got an unstable, unbalanced warrior wheel. And that's your life, right? So this is a tool for you to use. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I do want to talk about just, the difference between our disease model and what I call our health model. Our medical system is not a healthcare system. It's a disease model. It's a model that says, let's wait until you have a really serious health condition, overweight, obesity, diabetes, cancer, heart disease. And then once you are diagnosed and in that particular code red state, then we're going to try to override physiology by using chemistry, biochemistry, a drug, a pill, or a shot, which really is never geared towards fixing the cause of the problem, because we really don't know what caused it. Go to any medical doctor and say, well, what caused this particular disease? Well, we really don't know, but it's probably your genetic. And, if you're looking at your family history, like everybody in your family had it, but that's not even scientific anymore anyway. I mean, 98% of your health is based off of your lifestyle, controlling or manipulating the epigenetic expression of your genes. And so it's really just an upside down system. However, that disease system is really good for, like, if I have if I'm in crisis care, and I need to get like out of the code red zone, great. But then we've got to actually jump into the health model. And the health model is really about, cleaning up the trash, cleaning up your body, making good health decisions, taking care of your nervous system, taking good quality supplementation, your mindset. As a man thinketh, so is he. And that is the chiropractic model. That is the Revive Your Health chiropractic model. It's about cleaning up the trash. It's hard. It takes time. It takes discipline, it takes awareness, it takes intention, it takes a community of people around you cheering you on. Anybody can take a pill every single day to manipulate their symptoms. It takes no effort, and half the time, well, I wouldn't say half the time, I would say 98% of the time your insurance will pay for that stuff. But however, the health model, it's the opposite. Insurance doesn't pay for a lot of that. They don't pay for your Whole Foods card. They don't pay for your gym membership. They don't pay for your supplementation. And 99% of the time, they don't pay for your chiropractic care, because if you're not in crisis care and you're just trying to work towards being healthy, they don't look at that as medical necessity, which is really interesting. And so the health model is about cleaning it up. A great example of where we are today, we're talking about, just getting back into health and really getting at a healthy weight. The greatest example right now and the sad reality of our toxic disease system is Ozempic. Ozempic is a prime example of how sad our medical system has become, and also how sad and lazy and undisciplined our culture has become because of just the way that we have a pill and a shot for everything. Listen, if you're taking Ozempic, take it how you want. I'm just saying that there's always another route, and that route is always harder. It takes time. It takes discipline. And for those of you who have been, trying for years to try to get healthy, take a step back for a second, close your eyes and say, have I really done everything I possibly can? Have I really become disciplined? Have I done everything that I possibly can? And I can almost guarantee you that most of you will say no to that answer. And this is where Ozempic comes in. I mean, the American Medical Association has basically said, hey, I know America is lazy. I know America, just wants the quick fix. Nordic Pharmaceuticals, which is an Eastern European pharmaceutical company, designed Ozempic. And Ozempic is a weight loss type of drug that manipulates your blood sugar and basically causes you to lose an excessive amount of weight. But the side effects are staggering. This was an article that was published in the Journal of American Medical Association, so their own medical journal, that said Ozempic can cause serious digestive system problems, including pancreatitis, bowel obstruction, and gastroparesis, which are serious digestive system and overall health issues. I've seen things like gallbladder issues. I've seen things like nocturnal diarrhea, like basically you're trying to sleep and you can't because you're pooping your pants. I've seen things like thyroid. I've seen things like cancer. And one of the big ones here, right out of the medical journal's mouth, is Ozempic may also increase your risk for suicidal thoughts. Listen, getting up and going to the gym every single day, eating food by God, taking good quality supplements, and getting your spine, your nervous system adjusted and being around people that are going to support you and love you and not bring you down, I can guarantee you is not going to increase your risk of suicidal symptoms. And so that is our medical system in a nutshell, feeding into the laziness of our culture. Quick testimonial of somebody who, really has chosen to, really live the chiropractic lifestyle. A good buddy of mine, Justin, came to see us, probably 5 or 6 years ago, chronic low back pain, digestive system issues, some, really emotional stuff. He just wasn't happy with who he was. I mean, a big time golfer, couldn't golf. His back was killing him. He's in his early 40s. So it's like, what's happening here? I don't really know what to do. Kind of been everywhere. I was introduced to our chiropractic clinic, and, Justin went through our challenge, and, I'm looking at a picture of Justin right now, and it's just crazy, from the puffiness in the face to the lethargic lifestyle, to the sleep, to the overall blood lipid profiles, to just those overall just happiness and joy, losing 20, 25 pounds, getting in the gym. It's just crazy what happens whenever you're aware of where you are, you use intention, and you make a decision, and then you just choose discipline over just motivation to get where you need to be. And so Justin is a prime example of somebody that, hey, he was in the dumps, man. I mean, his back was killing him. He couldn't work out, so he did chiropractic care, got his back fixed up, so now he can work out. And he's just like all of us, right? We all make bad decisions, but he's focused, he's disciplined, and so he's just a completely different man than he was 5 or 6 years ago. He's a completely different husband, completely different leader for his home and those in his workplace. There are 5 things that we're going to talk about today that need to happen in order for you to be a new you in this new year, right? And so we call these the Warrior 5 because in order to become a warrior, to become a balanced man or woman, and mind, body, spirit, that we have to begin to think about doing these 5 things. And I would say balanced. Anybody can do something 90% and then 10% of something else, but that's not what it's about. It's about balance and consistency, across the board. So chiropractic care. We're going to talk about why chiropractic is vital in balancing your nervous system and therefore your metabolism and therefore just your overall energy and cortisol levels, which play a huge part in your immune system and overall weight optimization. The food that you put in your body, let thy food be thy medicine. It's important. Mindset, as a man thinketh, so is he. Listen, if you believe that our disease model is helping you, you're in denial. There's nothing about the disease model except for in a crisis situation trying to take you from dead to alive, that model is great for when it comes to health, right? And maybe your definition of health is a little bit different than mine, but the true definition of health is 100% function 100% of the time of every cell, tissue, and organ in your body without just the lack of disease or infirmity. So just because your body doesn't have cancer doesn't mean you're healthy. We have to be preventative in what we're doing, and medicine's idea of prevention is more medication, more shots, more drugs, and that'll never make you healthy. It may minimize your symptom, but it's never going to actually begin to push you towards 100% health. So we have to understand what health is, and we have to make a decision to choose a healthy lifestyle. And then, God forbid, we cut our hand or we have a concussion or something like that. That's what the medical system is for. And so our mindset has to shift there. And then we have to be really, really good with our exercise. We have to drive oxygen into our body, and we have to constantly be thinking about ways to minimize toxins, from what we put on our skin to what we, the water that we drink, the fluoride, the supplements that we're taking. All those things play a key role in how our body functions and heals. One of the greatest examples, and an example that I love to use, is, your body is a high-performance engine. Your body was not designed to be a 1980s Volkswagen or one of those Woody wagons. When I was growing up and a Woody wagon came by, my brother and I would punch each other and get points on the way to vacation. And nothing against those, because my family had one of those and they got us from point A to point B. I'm just saying they're not a high-performance car. And so, God designed your body, my body, to be high performance, to do big things, and to not be, sick and on 10 different medications. And every time you go outside, you get a rash, or, you can't breathe and you're sick all the time. Like, that's just not the way that body was created or designed. Your body was designed as a high performance engine, kind of like a Lamborghini. And you can't expect that Lamborghini to run at high performance if the computer system within that car is faulty. That's your nervous system. If your nervous system is not functioning well, then nothing else in your body is going to function well. You don't put diesel fuel in a Lamborghini and expect it to perform at high performance. You just can't do that. You've got to take care of it. You've got to maintain it. And insurance doesn't pay for any of that stuff, right? I mean, insurance doesn't pay for you to go and get your tires rotated. Insurance doesn't pay for you to go and get your oil changed. So why would we expect for the medical system, who's really just based upon symptom management, to pay for the maintenance of our body? So stop looking at your body anything different than a high-performance car. If you're doing routine oil changes, if you're rotating the tires, if you're cleaning it, if you're making sure that the airbags are in a good position and whatever, and the safety and well-being of your family, then that's the way you got to think about yourself. So the Warrior 40 Challenge, or the Warrior Challenge that we're doing here, 40 days to start a stronger and to build a stronger mind, body, and spirit, right? So the mind, the body, and the spirit, right? A healthy individual is balanced and working on all of those things. Why 40 days? It's biblical. Jesus went 40 days and 40 nights in the wilderness before he started his ministry. And so I think for a lot of us, we just need a mind, body, spirit reset. And so I love 40 days. I think it's not super, super crazy long, but it's also not 20 days. I think for a lot of us, we need to kind of really push through. We're seeing good results with 20 days in, but we need another 20 days to really begin to see those pounds come off, to see our mindset shift, and to really get into a habit and a rhythm that's going to create consistency in our life. And so, the first thing that I want to talk about is just really, and when we talk about, the nutrition over this next 40 days, I mean, it's very simple. I think if I put 1,000 people in a room and I said, what do you think is better for you to eat? Fast food, bad seed oils, sugar, and processed stuff, or, quality meats, quality fruits and vegetables, really good clean water, and good clean supplements. What do you think you would choose? I think we all know that what to do. It's just why we need to do that, and just the discipline that it takes to carry that process out. And I get it. Sometimes I crave sweets. There are other things out there that are other substitutes that you can snack on and that you can do to crave those. And I think also if you're constantly craving things and you're constantly craving carbohydrates and sugar and you're hungry all the time, that's probably because the food that you're putting in is not metabolizing well within your body. And what kind of macronutrients, from protein to carbs to fats, those things are a little bit twisted. So we need to think about those. But we really are going to focus on clean, whole food nutrition, right? So food by God, not food by man. So if it's got 1 million different ingredients in it, right? I don't care who promotes it. It's probably not going to be recognized very well by your body. If you're out there and you're like, okay, so I get it. I have no idea what that looks like in the grocery store. If you're a patient, we're going to do a shop with the doc. So coming up on February 5th, 6:30 to 7:30, we're going to be at Fresh Time Market on Polaris Parkway. Me personally, I'm going to walk you through the store, and we're going to show you how this is done in a grocery store on a budget, right? So I get it. There are, the healthiest chips in the world are $20 a bag. Like, I understand. Not all of us can do that. But we're going to take you through the grocery store and we're going to show you how to stick towards foods that are approved on the 40-day challenge, that are also going to be healing foods, that are going to be good, clean, whole food nutrition. It's extremely simple, but it's not easy, and we're going to walk you through that. If you're out there and you're like, hey, I'm not a part of the office, but you want to come to that challenge or you want to come to that shopping tour, all you got to do is go to revivechiro.com, send us an email, or call the office, 614-781-8808, and just schedule that. Let us know you're coming. We'd love to walk through that with you. Does quality actually matter? There's some, varying different opinions on this today. Is a macronutrient a macronutrient? Meaning, is a protein just a protein? Like, is there a difference between grain-fed versus grass-fed? Is there a difference between, hey, this organic canola oil over here and, or this, coconut oil over here, whatever? Is there a difference in the quality? Like, is a protein a protein? Is a fat a fat? Like, or does it matter the quality of those proteins, fats, and carbs? And the answer to that question, I believe, is yes, right? Because, think about it this way, right? You've got a Lamborghini, right? You've got a high-performance engine, AKA your body, and you're just putting really good, you're putting meat in. You don't care about the quality of it. You're just eating meat, fruits, and vegetables. The problem is today is that a lot of the meat is from grain-fed, hormone-injected cows. So whenever you eat that meat or you eat those vegetables that are sprayed with glyphosate and, you're eating all those things, yes, the calories aren't going to change, but the chemicals that are injected into that animal or are sprayed on the food that you're eating is going to internally change the internal metabolizing gut health, your microbiome, and therefore it's going to create some long-term metabolic problems. Now, I can't tell you that, it's going to mess with the outside of the car. So you might still have six-pack abs. You might still have whatever. You might have a lot of acne, right, which is a huge piece of quality, it ruining the gut. You see that with bodybuilders. You see that with people that are, just jacked online, but they've got massive craters all over their skin. Like, that is a quality problem. They've got a gut issue, a metabolic issue, and they're not breaking down these fats, proteins, and carbs properly. So we want to focus on quality. One thing I want to hit heavy on is, sugar versus oils, sugar versus seed oils. Like, seed oils are a big thing right now in our culture. Right now, Robert Kennedy Jr. is really on fire, really trying to create some hard lines in what we're allowing Americans to consume, because I think it's really interesting how in Europe, we're not allowed to consume GMOs. You're not allowed to consume food dyes. You're not allowed to have fluoride in the water. But over here in the United States, it's like, well, we're just going to do whatever it is that we need to do and whatever. It's a free-for-all. So he's trying to clean some of that up. And a big area of concern, especially with fast food or any kind of food that you would get at a night out on a date night, has got bad seed oils. And so we're actually kind of pivoting a little bit more towards, hey, sugar is still bad. White sugar, processed sugars are really toxic for the body. They're going to create inflammation. They're going to feed cancer. But seed oils are actually going to destroy the cellular membrane of the cell, which is going to create a leaky cell or a more fluidity, which is going to impact the toxins that are allowed to leave the cell, and therefore the good things like oxygen that are allowed to go inside the cell. Seed oils increase your omega-6 fatty acids, which omega-6 aren't necessarily bad, but if your ratio to omega-3 to omega-6 is crazy, this is where you're going to have these inflammatory problems, which we call accelerated glycolytic end products. And accelerated glycolytic end products are why it is that our joints hurt so bad. I've got patients that come in, my elbows hurt, my shoulders hurt, my knees hurt. And we blame it on the cold, and we blame it on the barometric pressure, and we blame it on all these things. You put 100 people in a room and it's 30 degrees outside and the barometric pressure changes. Not everybody's going to have knee or hip problems. It really is an internal inflammatory process that attacks the joints of your spine, and it comes from the gut. So these bad seed oils like canola oil, vegetable oil, really toxic trans fats and things like that. They're going to destroy your gut lining. A lot of those bad oils and are going to destroy the lining of the gut. They're going to destroy your cell membrane. They're going to create oxidation of cholesterol. Therefore, your cholesterol, bad cholesterol, is going to go up, and then the medical community is going to say, well, hey, we're going to put you on cholesterol medication. It's not really the cholesterol is the problem. It's the inflammation and the oxidation going on inside the body. So we really have to make sure that we're switching to things like coconut oil, things like avocado oil. More importantly, things like beef tallow, duck fat, and different things like that. Beef tallow is amazing, and this is where Robert Kennedy Jr. is actually trying to go into every fast food industry and say, listen, fast food used to be a staple in our country. You used to be able to go to 100 years ago, you used to be able to go get a burger, and a burger was a burger, right? I mean, it didn't have all these fats and bad things in it. So beef tallow, he's trying to get that to be switched over, and it could change. I mean, it's still going to be fast food. I'm not going to recommend that you just swing by McDonald's every day just because they have beef tallow. But the point is that we're trying to make a change because oils are bad. Sugars, still bad. Stay away from them. Any kind of processed white sugar, white flour, anything that's going to turn into sugar is going to create oxidation, inflammation in the body, increase your blood insulin, and anything that's going to increase your insulin is going to create metabolic dysfunction. Grain-fed versus grass-fed, okay? Pretty simple. Grain-fed, hormone-injected beef, cows, chicken, fish, farm-raised fish, an egg that's not pasture-raised, things like that. It's just the hormones, right? And these hormones have to be broken down by your gut. And if your gut is not in a good position to do it, it's going to go right into your bloodstream, cross your blood-brain barrier, and it's also going to create inflammation. So we're going to stick to grass-fed, wild-caught, cage-free, pasture-raised chicken, eggs, or wild, like venison, elk, wild game meat, probably the best for omega-3 fatty acids, the best for your body. I can't tell you how important that is. Meat does not cause heart disease. It does not cause high cholesterol. It is not going to kill you. I am definitely not the person who's going to tell you to become a vegan. I think that's completely absurd. But you have to make sure that the quality of the meat that you're putting in your body is quality. The research has been done. Paul Campbell, Cornell University, he wrote a book called The China Study. Ever since that book came out, everybody's been like, well, hey, become a vegan. But they did it, on the hormone-injected, McDonald's cheeseburgers type of meat. If you took, 1 million people and you fed them all wild game meat and fruits and vegetables, I can guarantee you that our cholesterol and our blood pressure and our cancer and our overall immune function and overall neurophysiology would drastically improve versus individuals that are vegans living off of carbohydrates, legumes and things that are still going to spike your blood sugar and soy and everything else. It's not the meat. It's the quality of the meat that you're putting in, so we got to stick to it. The other thing here is, I know you guys are going to ask me this question, is like, what about, why can't we have grains and dairy on this 40-day challenge? A couple of different reasons. Number one is that 75% of individuals are allergic or have a sensitivity, right? So you may not necessarily be allergic to dairy or grains, meaning that you don't go in anaphylactic shock whenever you drink or you eat dairy or grains. However, you're sensitive to that. You have a sensitivity, and so therefore your joints hurt. You've got some gut issues. I would say 75% of Americans have an improper gut lining, aka leaky gut, increased intestinal permeability, what the medical community would use. And so the problem with grains and dairy is that they're these big, massive protein molecules. It's really, really hard for a gut that's not in a good position to break down those big proteins, grains and gluten and dairy. And when they can't break them down, what they do is they actually go right through the gut lining, because you have these gap junctions in your gut, right? When you're healthy, those are tight. And what can happen is that you've got this good bacteria, or this mucus lining on the microvilli, and then these particles can actually be, absorbed and broken down. If you have an improper gut lining, which most people do, then you don't have this good, healthy mucous membrane. And then basically your gap junctions begin to open up. So all these big protein molecules go right down through. They go right through the blood, into the bloodstream. They cross the blood-brain barrier, and they create systemic inflammation. You have horrible skin. you don't digest your food very well, and then when you have systemic inflammation, it attacks your joints. I mean, I've got 20-year-old individuals in the office. My knee hurts, my ankle hurts, my shoulder hurts. And, they're doing all the things well in the gym. They're getting adjusted, but their diet is full of dairy and grains. Like, listen, dairy and grains today are not what they were 3,000 years ago. They're hybridized. We've got 1,200 different types of hybridization of grains. Back in the day, it was one. Right now, if you're grinding and you're making your own sourdough bread, I mean, fine. But even then, if you don't have a healthy gut, that stuff's so hard to break down. So we want to make sure that we're going to limit grains and dairy in this 40 days because we want to give your gut a break. We want to give your gut lining a break. We want to begin to heal and restore it. It's going to affect your mental clarity. You're going to feel better. You're going to wake up in the morning clear. Your joints are going to hurt less. And then here's the deal. After 40 days, if you want to begin to maybe add some good quality grass-fed, A2, gluten-free, sprouted stuff back in, fine. But what most of you will notice is that when you do that, you're going to feel like crap, which means that your gut needs to be restored, which we'll talk about later, or it probably just isn't a good idea that you consume large amounts of grains and dairy anymore. Like I don't drink dairy or eat grains a whole lot. Like we're pretty much dairy-free, gluten-free, and there's a ton of research out there that says if we were to stick to good quality fish, chicken, and steak, wild game meat, eggs, vegetables, and fruits, I can guarantee you that we would not have the chronic illness and the metabolic dysfunction that we have in our culture. Grains and dairy, maybe every once in a while, but they're not something that you should live off of. So the Warrior 40 rebuild plan, which is what we're calling this. Here's kind of the nitty gritty of what this looks like. No grains, no dairy, no seed oils, right? No alcohol, right? So alcohol for 40 days. Like I just think it's good just to kind of hit the reset button. Alcohol every once in a while, it's not an issue. But if you've got some health issues or if you've got some belly issues, then alcohol is really going to affect that interstitial gut lining. It's going to create a lot of systemic inflammation. And I just think that going without something that you think you need when you're stressed is a really good thing to fast over this 40 days, just to kind of hit the reset button and calm your adrenals and things like that. Naturally raised animal proteins, only low sugar fruits and berries, right? Nothing high sugar, nothing, it's like, oh, I'm going to eat, more fruits, but I'm living off of pineapple. Like, pineapple's not bad, but it's higher in sugar. So try to make sure you're living or on this 40 days more towards the lower glycemic index. And then quality carbohydrates. And quality carbohydrates would be vegetables, right? We're not going to have white potatoes and white flour and white bread and cereal and things like that. All of our carbohydrates are going to come from fresh fruits and vegetables. You can cook those vegetables, but just make sure the oils that they're cooked in are good quality non-seed oils. So once again, no grains, no dairy, no seed oils, no alcohol, naturally raised animal proteins, only low sugar fruits and berries, things like that, and quality carbohydrates, aka fresh produce and foliage. One thing that we're going to talk a lot about is fasting, and one thing we're going to implement into this challenge is fasting. So, the first 2 or 3 days we're really going to begin to fast, and the reason why fast is super important is one for mindset. A lot of churches and a lot of people at the beginning of the year, they do 20, 30-day fast, and why they do that is because they want mental clarity. They want to rely more on the Holy Spirit. They want to rely more on God than themselves. And you're just clearer. When you're clear and you're not working to digest your food, your brain is clear. Your gut and your brain are innately connected. It's called your enteric nervous system. 90% of the serotonin in your brain is actually produced in your gut. And so whenever your gut is constantly having to break down food, then your brain has to work hard and all the other things in your body have to. That's number one. Number two, if you've got a toxic gut, the only way that you can heal the gut is to give it a break. And so fasting is an amazing way to do that. So to increase mental clarity, to decrease joint inflammation and overall inflammation in the body. Also, research has been proven that it increases growth hormone and natural testosterone. So men, instead of doing the TRT, junk, fasting. It's a great way to increase your metabolic system. It's a great way to hit the reset button. It's kind of like, your iPhone, right? Like your iPhone sometimes gets slow or the computer's slow and you got that little thing going at the top and, you're trying to get into your apps on your phone and sometimes you just need to turn the power off and then reboot it and then turn the power back on and then everything works better. Like your internet works better, everything works better. That's kind of what fasting does. And so we're going to start this challenge by doing, fasting on water, right? Adding in some bone broth, adding in some smoothies, and then we're going to work our way into chewing food because our guts, our brains, our overall metabolic system needs a break. One of the things that I want to talk about is that what does it mean to break that fast? So breakfast actually means break fast, right? So to break a fast, how do we do that? One of the best ways to break a fast is a smoothie, a really good, high quality, easy on the gut, easy to digest, first meal of the day, the most important meal of the day. However, breakfast doesn't need to be at 4 a.m. Breakfast does not need to be at 6 or 7 a.m. If you're a man out there, I'm going to highly recommend, and we're going to talk about intermittent fasting, right? So that 8-hour window. I think men, 99.9% of men will do better on intermittent fasting. Now, if you're a female, I would not recommend that you do a lot of intermittent fasting. There's a lot of other hormone stuff going on. So I would love for you to eat breakfast, right? But your first meal is your most important meal. Not lunch, not dinner, right? Actually, if you're going to skip a meal, skip dinner. It's like the least important because your gut needs to break down that meal. So your first meal is what you're going to give your fasted belly to be able to kind of drive the system. It's like your first fill up in your Lamborghini. You want to make sure you don't put diesel fuel in your body if you're trying to get to work on time, and you got to really put the pedal to the metal. And so a good quality, bone broth, low sugar, high quality protein, fats, carbohydrates, berries, things like that. And so that's where the bone broth protein, that's where the greens comes in. And that's where we're going to infiltrate as many nutrients as we possibly can into our body. And then we're going to come off that fast and give our gut a chance to break that down. And so that's where that first meal is going to be that smoothie. So if you're a man, and you get up in the morning, I'm gonna highly recommend that you work out fasted. Have 20 ounces of water. Have a small cup of organic black coffee, and then go into your workout fasted. It's going to increase your testosterone, going to increase your growth hormone. You're going to really begin to kind of heat that fire within the body, and then whenever you get to that window of eating, so let's say you eat dinner at 7, you're going to have your first smoothie at 11. And then you're going to be, and most of us are not world-class athletes. Like, I'm talking to myself here. I'm a really fit guy, but listen, you can go an hour without eating after your workout. Like, you're not going to die. And so from a metabolism, from an overall metabolic standpoint, like, make sure that our first meal is that smoothie. Now, ladies, you wake up in the morning, you have a cup of water, a glass of water, you have a cup of coffee, tea, whatever you want to do, and then have a smoothie, right? I just can't tell you that it's good for most women. What I've seen most women intermittent fasting, it really kind of drives you in the ground and does the opposite. So for men, we're going to do intermittent fasting. We're going to break it with a smoothie. Ladies, we're going to start our day with a smoothie. Our 40-day challenge supplementation. There's 4 things, actually 5 things that we're going to implement into this 40-day challenge that are very, very important. Now listen, I can't tell you that if you go out and you get your own stuff that you're going to get the results that you want. The supplementation that we have picked and the supplementation that we carry is always going to be quality. I take every single one of these things. My kids take every single one of these things. And so if you want to go out and buy your own supplements, I have no idea what they are and what they do and if they're good. So I'm just going to tell you, if you want to do the challenge and you want to get the best results possible, get the bundle, right? And take the bundle throughout the challenge. After 40 days, if you want to go do your own thing, whatever. But the point is that I can only guarantee and I can tell you what I know. And every single supplement that we have here and the quality of it is second to none, right? And so number 1 is bone broth protein. Bone broth versus whey. Most of us have gut issues. So whey is really difficult for the gut to break down. And I love bone broth protein. It's amazing because it gives you all the same qualities and quantities of what whey would do. It just doesn't affect your belly, right? So I mean, why not just do bone broth protein, because it's so much better for you. And if you don't want to spend thousands of dollars on trying to get tested to make sure that you're allergic or your gut's not dysfunctional, just do bone broth protein. It's very good. It's grass fed. It's very high quality. You do the protein synthesis, the muscle rebuilding, everything. It's all there for you. Number 2 is our Thorne Daily Greens, high quality greens. I mean, for a lot of us, I mean, eating greens is hard. I mean, it's just, we're busy. And so getting those antioxidants, getting those micronutrients into our body with that smoothie in the morning, scoop of these for your smoothie is going to be vital. Mental clarity, antioxidative processes, driving good, healthy things into the cell, very anti-cancerous, very good for your immune system right now. Vitamin C, all the different B vitamins and different things like that, very good. The other thing that we're going to do is amino acids plus your element, right? So these are your element packets, the salt packets. As you're going through your fasting, it's very, very important that we're keeping our electrolytes up. It's also important that we have an amino acid as we go through fasting. There's a lot of research right now that proves that as you're going through a fast, it's really good to supplement with amino acids, with basically the building blocks of protein synthesis. So it's going to help with mental clarity, cognitive function. It's going to help you with your fatigue. It's going to help the detox not be as hard. You're going to be able to probably work out a little bit as you're fasting versus that person who's just like, oh my gosh, I have no energy. And then if you do try to work out, like you've got no energy, so your muscles are super sore, this is really going to help you with all of that. Now, the salt from the element packets are very, very important. And here's why. So if you're eating the standard American diet, right, and you're living off of, French toast sticks in the morning, and you go to McDonald's and you have 350 milligrams of sodium with your French fries and your Big Mac, and then you go home and you're having fried chicken and you're having all these, you're consuming a ton of salt, right? So I can't tell you that having a bunch of these salt packets will be beneficial for you, because you're going to go over the recommended dosage that would even be considered healthy, right? Science is pretty clear. We definitely need more salt than what your medical doctor is telling you. However, these element salt packets were meant for somebody who was eating a healthy, balanced nutritional diet, and a healthy, quality, balanced Warrior 40 rebuilding program doesn't have a lot of salt in it, right? If I'm eating grass-fed beef and wild-caught fish and I'm doing it myself, I may sprinkle a little bit of sea salt and pepper on there. If I have some greens, like I'm not living off of potatoes, they're, salt. Like I'm just not living off of those things. Fruits and vegetables don't have salt on them. So we need to make sure that we're supplementing with some magnesium, some potassium, some electrolytes, and some salt through these element packets that will give us and prevent muscle cramping. It'll improve cognitive function. It's also really good for the sodium and potassium pump in the body that's really the basis for cellular physiology. And so having one of these packets in the morning with your amino acid complex as you're fasting is super important. Once the fasting is over, out of that 3-day window, it's still good to take these, right? If performance, I take these every morning. Like as I'm working out, I take the branched chain amino acids, I take the element packets, I even add a little bit of creatine in there, 5 grams of creatine. It's great for overall physiology to prevent muscle breakdown and to improve muscle synthesis and really just overall health and performance. Like creatine and amino acids aren't meant for bodybuilders anymore. Like everybody should really be taking those things for overall health. So the last thing that we'll talk about that's a part of this challenge is the daily essentials. So your magnesium glycinate, your probiotics, your vitamin D3, your organic multivitamin. These are things that don't change, right? These are things that you take every single day for the rest of your life that are just good for prevention and maintenance that you just can't get through your diet in the amounts that we need to. So we have your bone broth protein. We've got your greens. We've got your amino acids and element T. We've got your daily essentials, right? So all that bundle, 20% off. Make sure you take advantage of that. Pick and choose if you want, but I'm not responsible for if you don't get the results that you want. So I'm going to highly recommend that you dive all in, right? You become disciplined and do the challenge, get the bundle, and go through the 40 days in its entirety using the products that we put together because those are the things that I can guarantee you will get you the results that you want. Information plus application equals transformation, right? So we talked about a lot of things. We talked about mindset. We talked about, nutrition. We talked about all these things. Like I said before, great information. But if you don't apply this information, then you're never going to get transformation, right? So take advantage of the bundle. Make sure that we're aware of where we are. Make sure that we have created discipline. We've got solid yellow lines. Make sure that we're maybe reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, I need you to help me stay accountable. All those things are going to be huge for you having the success that you need in that process. Before we transition into exercise, real quick testimony. Carl, good friend of mine, has been a patient for a long time. Carl used to be over 300 pounds, right? And so Carl tried everything, corporate world, just really successful in what he does. Young kids, just like me, just a lot of different things on his plate. Stress eating, stress drinking, all these different types of things. And, began to start this journey, then came into our office. Carl's lost 110 pounds, right? He's lost 110 pounds, doing the things that we're talking about today. He's getting adjusted. His back was hurting. His leg was hurting, which prevented him from going into the gym and doing the things that he needed to do, which we'll talk about exercise-wise. If your back hurts and you're really you can't even move, I'm just telling you right now, exercise is crucial in you hitting the goals that you want metabolically and weight-wise. I see it all the time. People do the nutrition, and I'm like, how's your exercise? That's hard. You're going to stay exactly where you are. You're not going to lose any more weight, and the chances of you gaining it all back are like 99%, 100%, unless you take Ozempic, and that's cheating. So the point is that Carl, he got better, and so he was able to exercise. He's able to do these things, right? Up and down, right? He's had some bumps in the road. Coming back, he has a plan. He knows exactly what to do. It's all about mindset and making sure that we've got some hard, solid yellow lines and the discipline to get it done. Super proud of him. Completely different man, completely different father, completely different husband, completely different leader, because he's achieved what he wanted to achieve, and that can be you too. Exercise. Exercise is huge. I love exercise. It's kind of my background, exercise physiology. My bachelor's in exercise physiology. I was Division I strength and conditioning coach. I kind of have every, personal trainer, National Academy of Sports Medicine, ACS, all these different things. Doesn't matter. The point is that I know a lot about exercise, and exercise is one of those things like nutrition. If I say, hey, what do you think is healthier for you to do? Not wake up in the morning and exercise, stay on the couch, and then, at work, use the shake weight, or get your butt out of bed and do 15 to 20 minutes of high intensity interval training, body weight movements, or, go for a walk for 30 minutes, walking hard, walking slow, walking hard, walking slow. What do you think is going to be better for your overall physiology, for your health, and for your metabolism? Exercising in the morning, right, for 20, 30 minutes. Not only is it better for you, functional movements, just better for your joints, overall muscle mass decrease. So if you lose muscle mass, every single increase, you have all forms of mortality, right? Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, all these different things skyrocket when your muscle mass goes down, which is why Ozempic is also very dangerous, because what happens is that it actually creates muscle wasting. So you actually lose weight, but you actually increase a process called sarcoidosis, which causes muscle wasting, and then all forms of mortality increase. So yeah, you might be able to fit into your number 2 jeans, but whenever you take all your clothes off, your skin's hanging off of you, your body fat's actually increased, and your risk of mortality has actually gone up. So exercise is important to produce lean muscle tissue for overall health. It's also good functionally to make sure that we're strong, we're able to do the things we need to do. If you're a mother, if you're a father, God forbid something should happen and you need to pull something off of somebody, or you're in a situation where you need to pull yourself to safety, no offense, but the shake weight and the saran wrap, fat stuff is not going to allow you to do that. You've got to push, you've got to pull, you've got to squat, you got to do these things because they're the foundational movements for the human body. Research article here, or let me ask you a question. Who wants cancer? The answer is that nobody wants cancer, right? Nobody wants to have cancer. I mean, that's kind of a stupid question, but so many people that are listening to this right now, and so many people that will do the challenge will skip exercise because it's too hard. But here's what I want you to understand. Cancer doesn't care whether or not you think it's hard or not. Cancer does not care. Disease does not care whether or not you have the money. Cancer and disease does not care whether or not you have the time. Cancer and disease doesn't care whether or not you're willing to go out and, get, simple pieces of equipment. Like it doesn't matter, right? This is really crazy. This was in the Nature review. So the Nature journal is one of the top scientific medical journals in the world, which, medical science nowadays, right? Over the last 4 years, we've been lied to. So what do we believe? But the point is here is that Nature has produced some of the top scientific medical journal research papers of all time. This was 2024. Brand new article, right off the press. The effect of physical exercise on anti-cancer immunity. Here's what I'm going to tell you. We now can prove that exercising at a high intensity for short periods of time actually decreases your risk of overall form of cancer. In this particular research study, what they did is they took individuals and they actually put them through high-intensity exercise. And what happened was what we call lymphocyte mobilization happened in the bloodstream. So the mobilization of lymphocytes, which are basically a part of your immune system, right? And then once exercise was over, right, you have this process called EPOC, which is excess post-oxygen consumption. So when you exercise at a high intensity and then you come off exercise, you're actually still burning fat and you're still kind of have this metabolic effect. This is why when you have a really good exercise program and then you get in the shower and then you get out of the shower, you're still sweating, right? That's when you know you got work done, okay? So this is why intensity is important. Going on a 45-minute walk, isn't a bad thing. Like, it's a good thing. There's research to prove that. I'm just saying that I don't have 45 minutes to an hour to 2 hours in my day. I've got 4 children. I've got 3 companies. I'm doing this stuff. And so 15, 20 minutes. I worked out for 20 minutes a day. I almost died, right? But I'm alive. I'm here. The point is that you should be sweating after. And here's what happens. They took individuals with lymphoma and multiple myeloma cells. So lymphoma and multiple myeloma. And what they found is that individuals that exercise on a regular basis at a high intensity, what they found is they increased these natural cytotoxic T cells, these natural T killer cells in the body. And what these natural T killer cells did was they actually went and they have this apoptic T cell, which actually began to munch and destroy the tumor of the lymphoma or the multiple myeloma. So, this is really cool stuff because there's 2 things that I get from this study. Number one, exercise is not an option. So I don't care whether or not you like to exercise or not, because not everybody likes to exercise, but nobody wants cancer, right? That's number one. Number 2 is that you don't have to have a ton of equipment. You don't have to have a $200 membership to a gym. Everybody can go down into their basement and do 50 burpees for time, modified, however you want to do that, and, want to pass out, right? Everybody's intensity is always different, but it just get moving, right? Exercise is not an option. It's something that you have to have. Cancer, nobody wants that, right? So just an awesome research article. So 40 days of exercise, right? We've made it very, very simple. We've got 40-day exercise program there for you. We've got some rest days built in where you can do some just active recovery and things like that, but we've got different levels. So if you got a bad hip, you got a bad knee, we've got modifications for you, but it's all right there for you. But like I said, I can't be there in your living room every single morning pushing you to be better. You have to be aware of where you are. You have to have the discipline, and you have to have some direction, right? So set a goal, the time you're going to do it. Maybe invite some people over to the house and say, listen, we're going to do all this together. We're gonna sweat together. We're gonna grind together, but we're gonna get better together because exercise is super important. Minimizing toxins. I think this is important. As we go through this 40 days, I just want you to become aware of the toxins that are around us. Right. Robert Kennedy Jr. doing a great job taking the fluoride out of water. Right. So if you're a dentist out there and you're old school and you're still okay with fluoride, I'm sorry, it's a neurotoxin, right? It's neurotoxic to your brain. It's neurotoxic to your body. The studies have been done, and it's in the water. So I'm going to highly recommend that over the next 40 days, number one, the best way to detoxify your body is to make sure that your body's hydrated. So every single day, our goal is to drink half your body weight in ounces in water. So here's what I would do. I would go out and I would spend money on a 60 ounce or 40 ounce water bottle. I'd fill it up, half your body weight in ounces. The goal is to get that done before you go to bed, right? Some of you are going to be like, man, I'm peeing all over the place. I'm peeing so much. Your body's flushing things out. Your body is detoxing. Your body is full of chemicals. And if you're not drinking enough water, not LaCroix, not Zevia, not coffee, not tea, half your body weight in ounces in water. Very, very important to flush that stuff out. And then, hey, endocrine disruptors. So like I said before, watch the fruits and vegetables and the things that you're consuming and what they're sprayed with, because endocrine disruptors come from the sprays they put on our crops and things like that. Ladies, you're also at a disadvantage because you put about 475 different chemicals on your body, on your skin every single day from makeup. So make sure that you're doing a more paraben, natural beauty line. I don't know anything about that, right? So if you have questions about that, you can, email the office, go to the website. We've got all kinds of different things that we've done. My wife is one of the leading, metabolic experts in the city, and she can kind of walk you through some natural things that you can do for that. The other thing is plastics, right? So one of the most horrible things you can ever do is to take your really good, healthy grass-fed beef and vegetables and whatever, and put it in a plastic container and then stick it in the microwave and bomb it. And then all those BPA chemicals go right into your food. So, switch to glass, right? Glass water bottle, more of a canteen steel kind of water bottle. We got to stay away from plastics. Plastics are massive endocrine disruptors. And it is everything is wrapped in plastic. Everything is heated. The plastic leaches into everything. So stay away from the plastics. These are just some things that we got to think about. And then medications. Listen, I can't tell you to get off your medication, even though that's the goal. The goal is to get you as healthy as possible so you never have to take a medication again. Because if you are on medication, the sad reality and the reality that you have to understand, that you have to become aware of, is that you're not healthy. Any medication that your child, you, or anybody that's taking means that you are not healthy. So if you want to be healthy, we have to take the steps necessary to make sure that we get your body functioning at a level to where you don't need that anymore. That is where we come in, but it also requires the health of your primary care, or whoever that is. So like I tell everybody, hey, I feel like I'm doing really good. I feel like I need to wean down off of this. You need to go to your primary care. You need to say, listen, I'm taking the steps necessary to be healthy. My blood pressure is really low, and you still have me on it. Like I don't want to take the cholesterol, like whatever it may be. It's time for me to begin to take these things out of my life that are really just crutches, right? Because I don't want to put forth the effort and the time to actually fix the root cause of the problem, and really become aware of where you are. And with the help of our medical community, we can begin to wean people off, right? And together we can become healthier. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on medication. I'm just telling you that the goal is that nobody should need that. The only time we should need medications in an emergency situation, we're trying to save somebody's life, and we're trying to take somebody from like stage 4, and we're trying to keep them alive. Medications will never make you healthy. They only delay the inevitable. They basically dumb down the body to make you believe that you're healthy, but you're really not functioning where you should. Maybe you're that person and you say, Dr. B, I'm doing the Warrior for, the 40-day challenge. I'm eating really good. I'm exercising. I'm taking the supplements, and I'm still really struggling with some things. Like there's some things that I'm still holding on to, and this could very well be you. I have a lot of patients that are like, I've done everything I need to do. I'm still not losing the weight, or I'm not losing it as quickly as I want to. My cholesterol is still, my LDL is still high, and my blood pressure is still kind of lingering a little bit higher. That it may be the need for us to go in and do some testing. I was telling somebody the other day, you can throw a bunch of, different types of things at your Lamborghini, right? It's like going to the mechanic and your Lamborghini or your high-performance car is not working correctly. And the mechanic basically says, well, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. And literally $10,000 later, you still don't know what's wrong with your car. Like, that's extremely frustrating. What the mechanic should do is say, at that point, because we have tried doing the healthier things, or what we think just work, now we need to do a complete computer check-in. We need to go in, we need to look at the computer system, And that's what our metabolics program is about, right? Our Revive Metabolics program is about specific testing, blood, urine, saliva, looking at your genetic methylation issues, looking at your gut health, looking at your thyroid, looking at your detox pathways, and saying, where is the glitch in this pathway? Where is the glitch in the computer that's causing your thyroid to go up? Because medicine, end stage, end game, thyroid medications, Synthroid, horrible, never going to fix your thyroid. It's only going to put you dormant, and it's going to create other problems. Most of the time, thyroid isn't even the issue. It's just kind of the end game in the system of all the other metabolic dysfunction. So that's where metabolic comes in. So metabolic urinalysis, blood spot, we review the results. We put together a customized program for you, all kinds of different things, because dysfunction of the internal workings of your car, left alone, this is what leads to disease. This is what leads to ulcerative colitis and then cancer. This is what leads to, Alzheimer's and dementia and Parkinson's and heart attacks, all these different things, because we've got things going on underneath the hood that are not being fixed. And so if you're here and you're like, that's me, schedule a consult with my wife. Go to revivechiro.com. That's revivechiro.com. And say, I'd like to schedule a metabolic consultation with Dr. Samantha, and she'll kind of walk you through what that looks like. If you are a patient, you're going through the Warrior 40, the 40-day challenge, then you can begin to ask about that, right? We'd love to hop on a phone call. And if you want to actually purchase the testing, we're going to do that for 10% off, which will give you an ability to be able to get tested as you complete this 40-day challenge, which is super, super beneficial. Mind, body, soul. When somebody wants to be healthy, or if I were to ask you, are you healthy? And you said yes, most people will be basing that off how you feel. However, feeling is not a good indicator of function. 100% function, 0% function. Takes about 40% damage of your body before you actually begin to feel symptoms. You take the traditional medical route, you go to the doctor, they alleviate your symptoms, you feel better, I'm healthy. No. If I don't fix the root cause of that problem, I actually go closer to zero, not 100% function. And so we have to be balanced in mind, body, and spirit, right? We have to be balanced in that. And that's the entire goal of our clinic. And one of the big missing pieces is chiropractic. What does chiropractic have to do with metabolic dysfunction? What does chiropractic have to do with weight optimization? I can't tell you that you come into our clinic and I adjust your spine and 20 pounds is going to fall off you. But here's what I can tell you. Most people begin to gain weight. Most people begin to become extremely unhealthy because they have an injury. They can't work out the way they want to. They choose to sleep in, the heck with it. And then I put on 20, 30 pounds. Then I get depressed. And then all these different things begin to happen. So if you're in pain, if your back hurts, if your neck hurts, if you have headaches, if you're just having tingling or you're having these like neurophysiological type symptoms, then it is time to have a chiropractic evaluation, to take a look at the internal working, your computer system. Your nervous system is the master computer system of your Lamborghini. And so that's the first thing that needs to be checked to make sure all the other systems are working well. A great example is that, so not only injury, but then individuals that are in a metabolic crisis, individuals that have high cortisol levels, that are holding on to weight, that are storing fat, that are not digesting properly, are in sympathetic fight or flight, right? There are two different types of nervous systems. There's kind of autonomic nervous system that's composed of two: your sympathetic nervous system, your parasympathetic. And if you are stressed, if you're working yourself to the bone, you're eating like garbage, you're not sleeping well, like you're in sympathetic, right? And most of the time you're going to be put on medication to try to take you out of sympathetic, but it doesn't take you out of sympathetic. It just tricks your brain into thinking you are. And then it's just massive cycle. Chiropractic, the whole goal of adjusting the spine, taking pressure off the nervous system so the body can begin to heal and adapt, allows for the body to come back into balance. It balances sympathetic versus parasympathetic. I just had a conversation with a patient the other day, and she's like, I'm sleeping better than I have before, which my headaches are gone. This is somebody who's in metabolic dysfunction. They were like extremely sympathetic. And she goes, my diet hasn't changed a whole lot. I mean, my life hasn't changed a whole lot. Really, what I'm doing is I'm getting adjusted and I'm doing some at-home rehabilitation to take pressure off of the nervous system, specifically the brainstem, which really is kind of the conductor of that autonomic nervous system, which when you have pressure or you're in fight or flight, your head's 6 feet in front of your body and you're stressed all the time, puts pressure at that area and can create dysfunction in how your body adapts to stress. And so in this particular individual, she's sleeping, she's healing, her body's naturally beginning to go into balance, which is where blood pressure goes down, cholesterol goes down, sex drive goes up, testosterone goes up, cortisol levels become balanced, the body begins to heal. A great example of somebody who really damaged that system and then overall internally their body went into chaos was Christopher Reeves, right? I use this analogy a lot. If you're first time listening to this, like Superman fell off the horse, broke his neck. He actually damaged his brainstem, shoved a bone about 3 millimeters into his brainstem. His lung shut down, so he'd have an iron lung. His heart shut off, so he'd have his pacemaker in. And then his digestive system shut down, so he had to wire a colostomy bag to catch his bowels. None of those particular organs were dysfunctional before Christopher Reeves fell off the horse and damaged his neck, right? And so when that happened and he damaged his spinal cord, he shut off the life that was coming from his brain down the spinal cord out to all the cells, tissues, and organs. So main thing shut off. 6 years later, he aged 40 years. This is where the field of accelerated aging came in. Like, what is going on with this guy's body? He's accelerated. He's got white hair. He's got cancerous sores all over his body. The point is that food wouldn't have helped him. Medication wouldn't have helped him. The only thing that would have helped him is if somebody would have replugged in the circuit breaker up here, which it was severed. So, it was damaged. So it was permanently damaged. But I'm just saying that's the only way that his body would have began to, really find the root cause as to why Christopher Reeves had that response, is because his brainstem, he was in sympathetic. If you're in sympathetic fight or flight mode, yes, you're going to be a savage if someone comes after your family, but you can't heal there, right? It's like the gas pedal is always there, but you're also trying to push the brake at the same time. So your tires are spinning, smoke is rolling, and then eventually what happens to your car if you don't figure out gas brake? It blows up, and that's where a lot of people are. So chiropractic, here are the warning signs that you might be in fight or flight, and that you would need a chiropractic evaluation to take you out of fight or flight so your body can begin to balance as you're going through this 40-day challenge. Headaches, menstrual problems, high blood pressure, depression, numbness and tingling, dizziness, fatigue, allergies, asthma, ear infections, constipation, attention, focus, acid reflux, low back pain, neck pain, tingling going down your fingers, you name it. If you have any of those types of symptoms, then your body, the oil light's going off, and it's up to you to change the oil and to get it fixed. Not put a duct tape over the oil light and pretend like it's just going to naturally go away. That's not how it works. And so, great opportunity for those patients that are listening. Normally it's about $170 to come into our clinic and have a full workup. For coming to the clinic or for coming to the workshop, listening to the workshop, we're going to do that for just $49. That includes your initial x-ray workup. That includes your case history, your postural evaluation. That includes your x-rays if necessary. It also includes your chiropractic adjustment. So we're going to give you your first adjustment to kind of see how your body works. If you're out there and you're just listening to this, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're in kind of the northern Columbus area, you can also call the office. If you're listening to this, just say, hey, Dr. B, I heard him on YouTube. I heard him on social media. We'll also honor that $49 value so we can make sure that you're healthy and your nervous system is balanced as you go through this 40-day challenge. So what is next, right? What is next? So people always ask me this question. So, hey, I go through the 40 days. I'm feeling better. What is next, right? So number one, I'll just tell you, divorce comfort, right? So most of you need to understand that until you divorce comfort, you will continue to be exactly where you currently are. We love comfort. We want comfort food. We want comfort exercise. We want the comfort everything. And comfort will kill you. Every once in a while, it's good to be comfortable. But if you are comfortable most of the time, you're actually not growing, you're dying, right? And so I would just tell you, adopt this concept of divorce comfort. Divorce Cane's Chicken. Divorce McDonald's. Divorce fast food. Divorce the quick fix, easiest way possible type of exercise program, right? Divorce the crappy supplements because it's comfortable for you and it's cheaper. Divorce the shots and all the things that are quick and easy, and literally begin to run head into the storm and chase the things that you know are going to move the needle. Number two, essential supplementation never stops, right? Quality supplementation, your essentials supplementation after 40 days, continue taking those things. Your LMNT, your element package, your branched chain amino acids, that type of stuff is just a really good thing to be supplementing with on a regular basis. Now, supplement means supplement on top of a good quality diet. Exercise, non-negotiable. It's cancer or it's move. It's sickness or it's move. It's Alzheimer's and dementia and achy joints or it's move. You choose. Movement is not an option. Mindset and gratitude every single day, setting down and writing down when you start your morning, what am I thankful for? What are 2 or 3 things that I want to get accomplished? Diving into God's word, diving into some things that are going to keep you focused and disciplined. And also the biggest thing here is focusing on why you're doing what you're doing. Viktor Frankl would have never made it through the Holocaust if he was only focused on, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? How am I going to get this accomplished? That stuff doesn't matter. What matters is, why is it important for me to do what I'm doing? Why is it important for me to stay alive? Why is it important for me to get my butt moving? Why is it important for me to lose 50 pounds? Why is it important for me to get off medications? Why is it important for my sons and my daughters to see me healthy? Because if they'd see me sick, fat, and nearly dead, the generational curse never stops. That's a why, right? And then chiropractic lifestyle. I'll just say this. There's 2 paths. Choose one and stick to it. If you want to take drugs, you want to take pills, you want to do surgery, and you want to wait until your body is broken and then have all this artificial crap thrown at it, then go that route. I love you. I'm going to pray for you, and you're always welcome into our clinic, but that is not what we do. We want people that are going to be cause-driven, that are going to do the things necessary to make sure that your body is functioning and adapting as close to 100% as possible. And then, God forbid, something really bad happens and you need medical attention, that's when you go to medicine. But you don't go to medicine before you go to cause-driven approach, which is the Revive Chiropractic lifestyle. So choose that lifestyle, right? Stay in the lane until, God forbid, you run into a dead end, and then you got to go over there really quickly. And I'll just tell you, get the heck out of that other lane as quickly as possible, and then back into the chiropractic lifestyle. Information plus application equals transformation. Take this information, apply it, and see total transformation. Next steps, make sure you have any questions, let us know about the 40-day nutrition. Make sure you've got a plan of attack there. Make sure you get registered for our Shop with the Doc, February 5th, right? Wednesday night, 6:30 to 7:30 at Fresh Time. I expect all of you guys to be there. If you have questions about what am I eating, I'm going to answer all those things for you. You know, if we have 10 people there or we have 100 people there, we're going to walk you through the store and show you exactly what to do. If you're not a patient and you're listening to this and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, make sure you take advantage of that $49 new patient appointment. Call the office or go to revivechiro.com, revivechiro.com to make the new patient appointment. We just, can't wait to get you healthy. And here's my prayer. My prayer is that you'll choose discipline, you'll divorce comfort, and that you'll begin to find a bigger why than just about you. Every single morning I wake up, like I'm going through a kind of a hard season right now. And I can suck my thumb, I can sleep in, I can make excuses, and I can point the blame on everybody else. But what I've chosen to do, and my prayer for you is that you'll believe in the healing power of the body, and that the body was not born sick and weak, and you'll believe that body can heal. And then number 2, I pray that you'll take massive action to do the things necessary. The Bible says, don't be just a hearer of the word, but be a doer of the word. Your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. There will be consequences for those who desecrate the temple. So choose discipline, divorce comfort, find a community of people that are going to sharpen you, that are not just going to let you do what you want to do when you want to do it, but are going to love you and support you for where you are, and that are also going to push you to become better. and that is Revive Chiropractic. I can't wait to see the transformation in this 40-day challenge. On behalf of myself, our staff here at Revive, we pray that you have a healthy, happy, blessed day. Bye-bye.